Howdy, everybody. Hope y'all had a good week so far. I did, sorta. Busy one, anyway. Well, let's back up over here and say hello to everybody and find out who got the cookie. It looks like Gerald Stewart got the cookie. Congratulations, Gerald. Enjoy that cookie. Glad to see you here. John Nippenberg of Landmark Yards, he got the half cookie. John, good to see you here, man. Chuck Shriver, good to see you. And Tom Grassi, good to see you, Tom. Glad you're here. Dundas Junction Model Railroad, James, good to see you. And let's see who else. Anfield Road Layout in the Loft, Lee. He'll watch the replay, but good to see you anyway. Stormy Steve from Stormy Sky Rail Productions. Stormy Steve, how you doing? Good to see you here. He says he won't be able to stay long at all. Have company stopping by. That's cool. Catch a replay at your leisure. Let's see. They say hi to Chuck Shriver? I think I did. Chuck, good to see you here. Schuylkill River Valley. Hey, John. Happy birthday, man. Good to see you here. And who else we got? Hot Dog Pie with Andy. Hey, Andy, good to see you. And that's everybody. What happened? James' system crashed. That's not good. No, I didn't. I'm still doing good. I'm in the green. Oh, I did say your name, yeah. Alright, well, been a long day. Anyway, guys, glad you're all here. Make sure you hit the like button because, you know, it's good for shits and grins. And let me readjust my camera a little bit again. There we go. Don't know. John Pohl. Hey, how you doing, John Pohl? Good to see you here. So, I got a little bit done this week. Not a whole lot. But I got something. You know, very little, actually. Been kind of a busy week. Been running back and forth to the stores and other bullshit going on. My wife went to go pick up her new glasses. You know, she just had cataract surgery. So they talked her into getting bifocals. Now her far vision's actually pretty good. Probably as good as mine, maybe even better, I don't know. But hey, Manny Fernandez, how you doing? Good to see you here. So anyway, so we went to pick up the glasses. They're not working for her. She couldn't see shit out of them. The bifocal part was so powerful, I tried them on, I couldn't see out of them. And my near vision's not that good, you know, age related, and of course the cataracts, that's the trade-off. You trade off near vision for far vision. But it was so powerful, and I said, so I asked her, I said, what's the magnification strength on the bifocal part? She goes, 250. No, it's not. What do you mean? I wear 300s readers at home, and they're not near as powerful as these 250s are. So I don't know what the hell's going on here, but those aren't 250s. Sir, you're mistaken. Lady, I don't make mistakes. I'm telling you from personal experience that these are not 250s. She can't see out of them. I can't see out of them. Well, her scripts is a little different than yours. I says, that may be so, but if it's too strong for me, it's definitely going to be too strong for her. And she just told you that it is. Fucking idiots, I'll tell you, you know. So, so actually wasting about, well, probably 3 hours there, you know, because they make you wait and all this other shit. And she left with the glasses, but, you know, she said, these are garbage. You know, that's why you just go to the dollar store and pick up dollar store readers and they'll work fine. And I think that's what she's going to wind up doing. James says, sorry, Jim. Blue Jays hit a grand slam walk-off home run against the Rays. Oh, you're watching the game? Cool. So I don't watch sports, so you know, but I get it. So anyway, it was like I said, and my signal's not doing that good either. What the hell's going on here? I'm actually in the red. I see I'm froze up. Well, this bites. What the fuck? Come on, get back in the green. Okay, we're good. I don't know what's going on there. Starlink better not be screwing up on me. I'll be pissed. Yeah, it's weird. It's fluctuating a lot. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on there. It's always something. Anyway, it coughed a bit, Jim. Yeah, it did. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and show you the short 3-minute video I shot of what I actually... What's that, Tom? Jim, the same thing happened on my stream last night. It was an issue with StreamYard. Yeah, well, but I got OBS going on, so I don't know. Hard saying. I don't know. It's just one fucking thing after another anymore. So anyway, so I'm going to show you this video real quick. It's about 3 minutes long. It doesn't show much because I didn't do much. I mean, I did a little bit, but it looks a lot harder to do than what actually when you see the finished product. You drag back and forth, cut this, cut that, drag it back out again, cut some more. You know, it's a pain in the ass. But anyway, here you go. Check it out. Alright, people. Let's see what I've gotten done so far in the new extension of the shed. Walk in there a little bit. Still don't have the ceilings up, but I'm working on it. I've got this one upper wall to put in yet. The sink's in. Not connected yet, but it's in. The upper wall is in over there. Not quite finished yet, but getting close. I've got the upper wall in here done. And I've got to put in the electric for the lights. That's where the outlet's going to go. And that's about all. That's about all I got down here. The cover plates were necessary. And I ordered some white foil tape that's going to close up the seam. Because no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get it to get flush for some reason. So that'll be here Saturday. I think I might even be able to use it on the corners too. We'll see. It's not a whole lot to report, but hey, it's something. And there's the drain going out the side. Like I said, I'll have the sink operational as soon as... I can't find any of my plumbing stuff for some reason. I need a 1/2-inch elbow. I know I have one. I don't know where the damn box of plumbing stuff is. That's all I need left to do to hook the sink up. Anyway, that's where we're at. Not much to show, I understand. Of course, you got a big mess in here still. I think that's going to be a mess for a while. As soon as I get the ceilings up, then I'll go ahead and put the lights in. And the carpet down. And once the carpet's down, then I can move the bench in there. And then we can maybe start putting things back together, cleaning this place up. So maybe another week or so, I should have it done. Or something very close to it. And there's Pogo. He's supervising everything I'm doing. He's being a good boy. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. And I know this is short, but it is what it is. So stay tuned for the next installment of what I've gotten done or what I hopefully will have done. We'll see you in a bit. Bye for now. Like I said, short and sweet. It looks like Dwight popped in, Curly Express. Dwight, good to see you. Joe Rader, good to see you too. And Derek, I thought I saw your name in here. Derek Alexander, yeah. Hey Derek, good to see you in here, man. I see you remember John's birthday too. I try and wish him a happy birthday every time I talk to him. So, like I said, I didn't get a lot done. And Tom, you're right, I'm going to have to pull them plates off. I bought 4-inch wide tape. So I'll pull the plates back off. I just put them on there basically so I didn't have to screw with them. But I'll take them back off, put the tape down, and put them back on. I tell you, I almost wished, it would have cost more, but I almost wished I'd have went with, drywall instead. I think I would have got a much better job out of drywall. The fiberboard is very flexible. Apparently it's not straight, right out of the box. So, I gotta do what I gotta do. But like I said, it's about saving money. When all is said and done, it's all gonna look real good anyway. So I'm not really all that worried about it. Tomorrow I'm gonna take back 2 sheets of fiber to Home Depot because I got too many. And that's $30 I'll get back. And with that $30 I'll buy another outlet for that right up there. And thanks John, appreciate it, man. Get another outlet and a 90-degree PVC fitting. I had a whole box of fittings, both copper and PVC. Probably about $100 worth of shit. Can't find any of it. Same thing, I had outlets. I know I had 2 boxes of them, two sleeves of them. I think they come 10 in a sleeve. They're gone. And what the hell happened to them? So I just buy what I need. And when I get back, maybe I can get one ceiling part back up. Or one ceiling part up. The one will be 4 foot wide, that'll be fine, but the second one is going to be like 3 foot, 10.5 inches, something like that. So I'll have to make 2 cuts for the length and the width. And once that's done, I'll hang the lights. There's going to be 4 lights up there. 2 in a row. There'll be an 8-foot strip and an 8-foot strip. So, and by that time, then like you said, I can start thinking about putting the floor down, or the carpet rather. And then we could start moving some stuff in there. And then maybe I can get some of this mess cleaned up. But I got to get the printing, so that's going to be like the first priority. Getting the printer set up and start printing the, I got these, not sure what they're called, but they're paint racks that you hang on the wall. I think each one holds 16 or 24 bottles of the apple barrel and whatever, so I gotta make at least probably 4 of those, maybe more. So that's going to take time to print because there's so many pieces involved. And that could probably take 2 weeks to print, who the hell knows. But I'll get that out of the way, and then of course, get the rest of the stuff set up in there. I don't know if I'm going to build or maybe buy a table for the paint booth. It'd probably be easier just to buy an old like end table or something for it. You know, something that'll be the right diameter, dimensions. Hey Gerald, good to see you here, man, and hope you're enjoying that cookie. So yeah, it's getting there, Steve. It's time consuming, and I'm finding out that I'm in a lot worse shape than I thought I was. I mean, I'm having a tough time with all this stuff because I can't stand for any length of time. I mean, I get, wore out real quick, and I gotta rest. And to do a simple thing like wire up an outlet takes me a half an hour, Get a wire strip, put it on there, gotta rest. 15 minutes, go back to the second wire, gotta rest another 15 minutes, and it's a pain in the ass, but but it's getting there though. And like I said, when it's all done, it's going to look good. I'll hide a lot of the flaws, and there are a few. Some are my fault, some are the fault of the building itself. It was a cheap building, and you get what you pay for. So the only other structural thing I have to do to the building is I'm going to strap the roof down to the floor. In case any high winds come, and it won't tear the roof off, because it looks like it could. There's little screws that hold the thing in. Yeah, there's a ton of them, but I don't know. I just don't trust it. So I figured a couple of straps. The floor's not going anywhere. It's anchored to the ground. It's anchored to this building, so we should be good to go. And at some point, I'll probably paint the outside of the building to match the shed. I don't know what kind. It's like a dark red, burgundy red. But there's no big rush to do that, Like I said, I want to try and work in here first. And more than likely, I'll start, I don't know when, but like a true professional, molding and caulk to cover the crap. Yeah. You got it. Like I said, a lot of it you're not going to see anyway, because, there's going to be a bench in there which is going to take up a good portion of it. These plastic drawer container thingies, I'm going to put some of those in there, as many as I can fit. So a lot of it's going to be hidden, the imperfections, and like I said, if it was a high-end project and I built the thing out of wood and used sheetrock on the inside and did, use proper insulation and stuff, it'd be a lot different. But for what I need, it's fine the way it is. Those screws do a pretty good job. I started using screws in our barn roof. Yeah, they do. But, like I said, there's no rating on the shed for what kind of wind it'll handle. With the straps, I think it'll easily handle 140, 150 mile an hour winds. Without the straps, maybe 80 or 90. I don't know. Like I said, there's no specs on it. And I'd rather be safe than sorry, because, I'm not expecting any hurricanes this year, but you never know. Better to do it, not worry about it, than to wait till last minute and then try and, correct the problem. So, it's just, like I said, it's whatever. So, other than that, like I said, I really haven't done a damn thing. I started siliconing because I had a leak right in the doorway. And then the door, of course, is where the two buildings come together. And when I sprayed the foam up in there, I think the expansion actually opened up. Just little tiny areas. Now, there were much, just a drip, But it opened it up enough to where, so I went and had silicone the shit out of it. pinched and clamped it, there's no more leaks there, because I had a pretty horrendous thunderstorm the other day, and I had a little bit of a drip where that wood beam is in the center. So I'm going to silicone all that too. And like I said, I think now all the screws have plastic washers on them. Not the best system I've ever seen, but I think in some cases maybe the water got around one of them. Because it's just like I said, a little drip. Is your train room strapped down? No, it's not. But this thing is so heavy. I mean, we've had 3 hurricanes come through here already, and it didn't affect the shed at all. I don't know what the weight is on this thing, but it's now a tornado. Of course, it wouldn't matter what you do. If a tornado were to hit this area, well, I think this and the house will both be gone. But your basic hurricane, even a Cat 3, it'll withstand it with no problem. Didn't lose any shingles or anything. So, of course, I have metal roofs on the house and the guest house. I've got shingles on this shed and a metal roof on the little shed. So I think we'll be okay all the ways around. Guess time will tell, won't it? Like I said, if there's a hurricane coming, I'll probably move the printers in here just in case, if something were to happen to that, I wouldn't lose my electronics. So, well, like I said, with the El Nino they're talking about, and I don't understand half of this crap, but on the one hand they're saying, well, you're not going to have any, it's going to lessen the likelihood of a hurricane. Because the Pacific's going to be hotter, it's going to suck all the heat out of the Atlantic somehow. But then on the other hand, they're saying, but if it does superheat the Atlantic, you're going to have a rough hurricane season. So it sounds like they don't fucking know. So I'm not going to worry about it. Like I said, normally it's cyclical. We get a hurricane about every 6 years as a rule. Although I've been here 6 years and we've had 3 come through here already. Which was kind of odd, and there's some people that, like myself, that believe that they were manipulated storms. But I think because of the manipulated storms, they've kind of fucked up the whole process from a nature standpoint. So we don't really know what's going to happen next. And they keep launching these fucking rockets. Now, Starlink or whatever, Musk, he's going to launch the biggest starship ever in a few days. It'll probably blow up anyway, because it seems like every one he launches blows up. But how much damage are they doing to the environment with this stuff? And they don't even blink an eye. They're worried about, cows farting and us driving our SUVs or whatever. I don't have an SUV, so it doesn't matter, but, oh, you're burning fossil fuels. It's causing climate change. If climate change is even partially real, which I have my doubts, it's probably from all the fucking rockets. And maybe all the wars going on around the world, We're blowing up shit. We're sinking ships. It's funny, If you're on a John boat and you go out in the Gulf of Mexico and the fucking thing sinks, and what are you going to have, like a couple of quarts of oil in the engine if it's a 4-stroke? Or you're going to have 2-stroke gas oil mix, maybe 5 or 10 gallons, going to go down with it. And you'll actually get fined for that if you're in Florida. I don't know about other states, but, because, that's a cleanup situation. You done fucked up the whole Gulf of Mexico with your 5 gallons of 2-stroke gas and oil, right? Bullshit. But we can sink a battleship or a submarine with hundreds or even thousands of gallons of oil and gasoline or diesel or whatever, and it's not a problem. Explain that to me. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Gulf of America. That's, I know that Trump changed it, but it's just, it's habit. So, explain this to me. So, sinking a submarine or a battleship isn't a problem, but if you sink your 12-foot or 14-foot John boat, you fucking brought about the end of the world. Somebody's full of shit. So, like I said, it's just, it doesn't affect the weather. I think it does to some degree. Remember when they put the Corexit in the Gulf of Mexico when we had the oil spill? And they said the Corexit was going to kill the Gulf Stream? Well, why'd you put it in the fucking water then? It would have been better to let the fucking oil float, scoop it up somehow over time, or just let it fade into, nothingness. The Corexit made the oil sink to the bottom. So now we polluted the entire bottom of the Gulf of Mexico. And possibly even up the Atlantic coastline, because it would have drugged the Corexit with it. They're allowed to get away with this shit, and it's not a problem, but... John says, Jim, your girl Greta isn't doing so well. She got a 3-star. Yeah, I saw that. Well, she's a little bitch anyway. More like Shemp. I don't know. It could be Mo or Shemp, either way. She's got that Dutch boy haircut, I guess. I mean, she's trying to remain relevant, but I think her relevance is over. Hey, Ray Bertelson, how's it going, man? Good to see you here. So, like I said, I'm not too worried about it either way. We're in the middle of the state. Even if a Cat 5 or a 6 or whatever, maybe they'll have a Cat 10 before they get through. By the time it gets here, it goes down to almost nothing. So I'm not too worried. And it doesn't matter where you go, there's something. I was telling my wife, I said, I'm glad we didn't move to North Florida. Now they're in the new hurricane or tornado alley. Well, fuck that. So where the hell are you supposed to go? There's no place that's really safe. Earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, blizzards, or ice storms. It's always something. No matter where you go, there's something there that might get you. So I ain't worried about it. Well, thanks for that, Derek. 1910. That means 9 of you didn't hit the thumbs up button. Don't make me come after you. So, anyway. So I've got a complete mess here. I mean, I've said that before, and you guys say, it's not a mess. You see mine. Now, this is a mess. I mean, I have no clue where hardly anything is. I will get organized as soon as I get that room finished. And I'm hoping will be very soon. Because this is really getting difficult. I mean... Alright, Gerald, have a good one, man. Good night, guys. I need to go to my granddaughter's birthday dinner. Well, hey, have fun at your granddaughter's birthday, man. Wish her a happy birthday for me. Derek says, just remember not to go in the extension for safety. I'll be in the house for safety. And if it gets real bad, I don't know if I'd leave or not, because it seems to me like you're screwed no matter what you do. I mean, I've always took my chances with the hurricane rather than try and outrun it. Some of my friends tried to outrun them and wound up running right into it because it changed course last minute or something. Yeah, I had a friend who was stranded for 2 weeks in North Florida a few years back. He was scared and he ran. Took his wife and 5 kids, and they wound up sleeping in the van for 2 weeks. He couldn't even get a motel or anything. I said, what the hell did you run for? He said, well, it looked bad. I said, yeah, but I stayed, nothing happened, and you were stuck up there for 2 weeks, you know. Yeah, it was rough, man. So, you know, like I said, it is what it is. So, oh, like I said, I wish I was getting more done here, but I'm not. It's hard. There's just it was so hot the other day that the air conditioner here wasn't hardly working that well. I mean, there was nothing wrong with it. It's just that it got so hot in here that thing couldn't cool it down. And I had it set like at 70, you know, and it's like, oh, when the hell is it going to get cool in here? And it just like never did. Jim, we used to go to Disney for the hurricanes. No one was there. Well, that'd be the time to go. I don't do Disney World, so I'd never go there anyway, but too many fucking gays. But you're right, though. That would be the time to go. And they say the same thing for COVID. Place was empty for the most part. So, I said I've never been there. I've never had a desire to go there. I'm not really big on rides anyway. Especially lately. You see all these rides are breaking. People are getting killed and maimed. There's one just the other day. I don't remember where it was at, but the thing that spun around. And one of the carriage, I guess you called it broke off. Sat there, everybody said 2 people or 3 people died. The others are critical condition. You do that shit for fun? I don't fucking think so. Derek says, you're making progress, Big Jim. Good things take time. It will come together and you will love the extra space and extent. Oh, I will. No doubt about that. Ray says, Clark went to Wally World when they were closed. Yeah, vacation. That was funny. I watched that movie. I thought it was great. But the Griswolds. Yeah, it's funny. Hot Wheels makes a car just like the wagon they had in the movie, because it's a modified station wagon. Had 8 headlights and shit. It was kind of weird. But now I realize everything takes time, and you know what? I really kind of, I don't know if the right word is, surrendered myself to things taking time anymore, because you know. Used to be I wanted to get shit done, go in there, tackle it, start it, not quit till it was done. I can't do that shit anymore. It's just like, it's like being, you know, in the army. What they hurry up and wait. That's kind of the way things are. And I still have a lot of stuff to do. Like I said, I got to button up this doorway with trim around there. And maybe I'll pick up the trim tomorrow too, because I'll have a few extra dollars to pick up some trim boards. And, you know, hopefully get that, you know. I want it to look nice when I get done with it too, you know. We went to Hilton Head in Savannah, July of 2020. The beach was deserted and there was no traffic on the highway. Yeah, I'll bet. That's what I said, for those, you know, weren't afraid. That would have been the time to do a lot of that stuff. I wasn't afraid, but like I said, I had no desire to. I did all that shit when I was younger. You know, I hit every attraction in Florida. Well, Disney World wasn't there when I did it. The first and second time I was married to my ex-wife. We toured the whole state, and we hit every attraction in Florida. But Disney wasn't there yet. So we didn't do Disney, obviously. But we did, you know, SeaWorld, Six Flags. Fuck, there's so many, I can't remember half of them now. But anyway, I then did it again a few years after that, you know. And it was cheap then, too. You know, the entry fees were like $5 to $7. Now, like Weeki Wachee, where the mermaids are up in northern Florida. My wife, present wife, she went up there I think 2 years ago with her daughter and family members. It's like $30 to get in. It's like, holy shit, I think I paid $5. When I went. And they had the glass bottom boats and shit. It was really cool stuff, but but like I said, to do it now is one, it's expensive, and two, I've kind of already done it, so that's one of those things where really it's cool the first time and then it's not the second or third. Now, my stepdaughter, she's been to Disney like 50 fucking times in the last 5 years. Like, what do you see there? What's the attraction? Every time you go there, you spend a couple of grand. It doesn't even make sense. Hey, Gigliotti's, Ray. How you doing, Ray? Good to see you. So, did you ever get that speaker set up, 3D print, straightened out? Hope you did. So, like I said, I don't do a lot of that stuff. I mean, anymore, I just, my wife kind of says, you're boring. And I know, but I've done all that shit already, And then once you've done it once, there's, not really much point doing it again, It's just, it costs a lot more now, and you're going to see the same things you did the first time you went. And plus, I had a lot of money back in those days, too. So, I mean, and things were cheap anyway. I think gas was still like 80 cents a gallon. I'd fill up the car and, I'd cruise all over the state for, $10, $15. It was great. But I just filled up my tank the other day. Fortunately, I got there, it was $4.58 the day before. But I don't like letting my car get below a quarter, and it was already going down to 8. And I said, this isn't good. I got to put gas in this thing. So the next day we went out. I went to the gas station. It was $4.18. So I went and filled it up. It took, I think, 15 or 16 gallons. It holds 18. And the bill was 66 and change. I go, holy fuck, man. And there was some guy next to me with a Ford F-250 with a gas motor. And I can imagine what his bill is. That thing probably held 30 gallons, maybe more. I don't know. I'm sure he probably fucking half a paycheck to fill the motherfucker. So it's crazy, man. They gotta lower the price. Now they're talking about diluting the gas. And how is that going to be beneficial to anybody? You'll still get half the mileage if they dilute it. So you're going to be paying the same, if not more, for a shittier grade of gas. And don't even use that E15 shit, because if you have an older car, I think pre-2005 or something like that, it'll destroy the engine. I wouldn't use it even if it was half the price of gas. So, yeah, what the hell's going on in the Middle East? Seems like everything's at a standstill over there right now. Trump's over in China, and I guess the Chinese president basically told Trump he wants to go to war with the U.S. It's like, yeah, go for it, asshole. See how that runs out for you. I don't know. Like I said, it's just... Rick says, hey, Rick, how you doing? Good to see you here. He says, Rick says, I just paid $88 to fill my F-150. Yeah, no surprise there. You probably owe, what, 20 or 22, somewhere around there? Gallons? I know the F-150 holds more than my Grand Marquis does. Now, my Ranger, I think it only holds 15 or 16. And I filled that up. I think I paid three something for gas for that. And I try not to use it too much. I mean, I've really got it down now where I don't really want to use it unless I'm hauling shit. Cuba has, yeah, I know Cuba doesn't. Apparently, China's just about out of fuel. I think that's why they're getting a little mouthy, but you know what? That's a stupid thing to do. So, I don't know, but it would help if they get that all sorted out. We could see maybe cheaper gas again. We need to get it back down to $2, man. That's all there is to it. I mean, and diesel, man. I feel sorry for anybody's running a diesel, man. Down here, it's $5.36 for diesel. It's like, are you out of your fucking mind? This is back in the late 90s. It cost me $200 to fill my dual tanks on my F-350. I would have to take a loan against the house now. Yeah, you would. James says we're paying $1.85 a liter. That's that's like what, $7 a gallon thereabouts. Joe says $50 got me half a tank a day. Yep. I said it's getting crazy, you know. And the thing is, it doesn't go that far. I mean, not really. If I don't do a lot, I can usually make a tank of gas in my Grand Marquis last a month. But, you know, my wife's always got things to do. We got doctors, we got shopping, we got all this other shit. And I says, you know, we got to quit going out every day because it's costing a fortune, you know. And he says, I can't afford to fill that tank more than once a month. So I says, you know, we're either going to have to consolidate our runs or, you know, eliminate them all together if possible. And that's what I try and do anyway. I try and, you know, all right, so we got to do this, this, and this. So we can do 3 or 4 things in a circle, you know, so I don't have to keep going out different days. You get it all done at once, you save a little bit of gas that way. But, I mean, it's getting ridiculous, man. I don't know what's going to happen, you know. And I'm seeing prices on everything going up and up and up. I saw, what was it, Train World? They had HO scale, the Rapidos, switchers, the SW1200s, $399 with DCC and sound, but still, $400 fucking dollars for a switcher. Yeah, are you fucking serious? You know, I don't know much about Rapidos. I understand it's a really good brand. I know James up in Canada likes them, but that's just ridiculous money, man. And I don't know what you pay for them up in Canada, James, but if they're $3.99 down here, they're probably even more up there. You know, which is just fucking ridiculous. John says, driving to Kansas City, we paid $4.09 to $4.49 per gallon. But Illinois was $4.79. Luckily, we didn't have the gas there. Yeah, no doubt. Well, it's different every state, you know, in different areas. Like we have a gas station that's further in town by the Walmart. I think it's owned by Walmart. Called Murphy's. They're generally about 10 cents cheaper for gas. But to drive that extra distance if you don't need to, whatever you thought you saved in the actual price, you wasted in mileage. And I wasn't going down that way, so there's no way I was going to drive the extra 15 miles just to save 10 cents a gallon, you know. Michigan is $4.75. Yeah, that's crazy too. James says 400 USD is a lot. Yeah, I know it is. As I said, and that was a sale. And I'm thinking, you know. Ray says we are at $4.50 a gallon in North Carolina by him. James says I paid $2.30 for an SW900 DCC ready. That's not too bad, but that's still kind of pricey for what it is. I mean, you would think, you know, because a switcher's a relatively short loco compared to like an SD40 or SD45 or anything bigger than that, you know. And you would think that the prices would vary between the different size locomotives, but they don't. I mean, you can get one this long. It's the same price as one this long. It doesn't make sense, you know. So you know it's just strictly markup profit, and not about what it actually costs to make it. And bullshit. Ray says we were at 325 a month ago. Yeah, it went crazy. I mean, it's ridiculous. Rest says 509 here at my station, Northwest Oregon. I don't know why the fuck you don't get out of Oregon, Ross. That place is nuts anyway, but that's ridiculous. I think California's over $6, I think. I thought I saw somewhere it was like $6.79 or something like that in LA or San Francisco. Where do you think people are getting all this money from? You know. You know what kills me with the gas is the minute something happens in the Gulf, the price goes up. They already bought and paid for the gas that's in the ground already at their station, you know, in the tanks. And yet they're allowed to to raise the price. But if the price goes down, it like takes a few days before they drain the tanks to get the cheaper gas. How the fuck does that work, man? It's a bunch of bullshit. I just paid $99 for an Atlas O100 Atlas O I-40 foot intermodal car. $100 for an intermodal car. That's not terrible. Check says gas around here is $3.99 a gallon, down from $4.19 a week ago. Hard to believe it went down. Well, I said ours went down too, because like I said, it did jump up to $4.58, and the next day it was $4.18. And I think right now it's at $4.15. I think as of yesterday. So can't afford you, Jim. It is my home. Yeah, I know. It sucks though that you're kind of trapped there, you know. But well, hopefully things will improve at some point. I don't know. You gotta get rid of these fucking Democrats and you'll be fine. James says SW900 Rapido, $341 Canadian dollar, which is the equivalent of $248 USD. Okay. That's with DCC and sound. That's not bad. That's better than $3.99. I hear you, Russ. I grew up in California and finally ran away 5 years ago. There you go. Our local gas dropped 3 cents here, Chuck. Yeah. Like I said, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if they're trying to put us into another depression or what. It almost seems like it. Because everything really revolves around gasoline, you know. The good news, at least here in Florida, our governor, he put a stop to data centers coming here, basically. And if they do come here, we don't have to foot the bill for it. And that was the big thing, because they were going to build a massive, I think they said a 5,000 acre data center that would have probably doubled or even possibly tripled our electric bills, because they were going to make us pay for the electric. Fuck you. You want that shit, you pay for it. So the governor signed a fucking executive order basically saying that if they do anything here, they're going to pay for it, lock, stock, and barrel, and they're going to have to get special permission to utilize the water, because, you know, we're on water rationing right now because there's a water shortage. And those data centers use like 50 million gallons a day. You know, what the fuck, man? Tom says, Trump wanted to remove the federal tax from the gas, and he told the governors to remove state tax also to help, but the Dem governors screamed. Now, of course they did. Yeah, I read the same thing. Because it's all about money, man. They're just looking for ways to get your money. And the problem with the Dems is, even if they did go along with it, if they were forced to, they'll raise your taxes somewhere else, and well, you're right back to square one. You're just, you know, you're paying more money for something else, but the money's still going out. Because that's the way they do business. What are you going to do? John says, I read they were talking about suspending the federal... Yeah, that's what Tom was talking about. And there shouldn't be any gas tax anyway. Especially now that, well, I think they said 27 states are either enacted or going to enact a pay-by-mile tax, which is also bullshit, you know. Listen, if you want to drive an electric car, you should be taxed for it because you're not paying road tax by buying gasoline. But those of us who are buying gasoline and diesel, we're already getting taxed. We don't need to get taxed further. The Dems that have taken over Oregon, yeah, of course they did. Because that's what they fucking do. They fan out and they convert everything else to the shithole that they left, you know, they created. Ray says $2 a gallon in Cali is just, I believe it. Me and my wife on the way home from the surgeon yesterday, we finally followed a cyber taxi prototype. Wow. Yeah, I hear they want to, Musk is trying to get them all over the place. That scares the shit out of me, man. James says, Thomas Grassi, our stupid government did not help. And of course not. They just raised the price even more. Followed, hey Rick. It wasn't me, Russ. I lived in Grant Pass for a couple years, but didn't bring the Cali crap with me. Well, that's good. That's what Florida told the Northerners and the Westerners. He said, you know, you're welcome to come here. Leave your politics at home. We don't want or need them here. And I have to agree 100%, you know. Just because you fucked up your home state, now you got to leave. Don't come here and fuck up our state. Sleepy time night, Jim. All right, good night, Andy. Thanks for popping in, and get a good night's sleep, and we'll see you next week. Be safe and have fun this weekend. Gas is still lower than Biden in 2021. It went all the way up to $5.54 here, same station. Yeah, it jumped up a little bit here. Never got that bad. I think we were at like 401, something like that was the highest it went, but yeah, it's a game they play, you know, and I've been saying that for years. You know, they'll jack it up till everybody screams, then they'll lower it a little bit, and everybody's, oh my God, you know, it's cheaper gas again. And then they'll jack it up again till everybody screams again, and it like keeps climbing. It never actually goes back down to where it originally was, you know. I remember, you know, I actually do remember 25 cents a gallon gas back in the early 1960s. Early 70s, actually, excuse me. I used to fill up my moped. Hailed a gallon, cost me 25 cents to fill it from empty. So, you know, unless it goes down to 25 cents a gallon, don't tell me fucking gas is cheap again, because it ain't. So, you know, it's just the same old bullshit they pull on everything. So it's a fucking game they play. I don't know what's going to happen. So right now, I think economically, we're in a world of shit. Some of us haven't really been hit with it yet, but as soon as it does hit, you're going to see businesses collapsing more often than they already are. I heard the car companies are on the verge of collapse. Nobody's buying their $60,000 garbage. Yeah, I can't imagine why. You know. John says, I have a picture from 2022 and regular gas was $4.99. Yeah, I believe it. Tom says, Jim, I remember 15 cents a gallon. Well, you're older than I am, Tom. Can you imagine 15 cents a gallon and what we're paying now? It should have been capped at 25 cents a gallon, and that's where it should be forever. You know, I don't care whatever else happens, gas should have stayed at 25 cents a gallon. You know, the funny thing is, in the Saudi Arabia, gas is a nickel a gallon for premium. Yeah. And we have more oil than they do, but although we can't refine it because we're idiots. But that's what we should be paying for gas here. Yeah, back when blinker fluid and gas were both 25 cents a gallon. Blinker fluid. Like I said, I remember 25 cents a gallon. I remember 10-cent Cokes, you know. When they still had the bottles in the machines. Put in your quarter. Was it a quarter? No, it was 10 cents. You put in your dime. You'd pull the bottle out. It would release just one bottle and you were good to go. East Coast gas is always 75 cents to $1.25 less than West Coast gas. On average, your power bills are much higher, though. Well, for a while there, California, they had some outrageous power bills. We're getting close to that here on the East Coast. Like I said, you know, I know a few people that still have bills under $100 a month. I don't know how they do it. My bill has been averaging close to $200 lately. But that's because I got the new air conditioners and they're very efficient. When I had the central air in there, during the summer, my bill would climb up almost $500. Which is fucking nuts. Actually, car companies so far doing pretty good still. I make parts for the automakers. Yeah, but not for long though, Rick. I mean, they can't sell anything. You know, I said your average pickup truck is between $60,000 and $90,000, which is fucking outrageous. And now they got, you know, SUVs that are a little cheaper, like in the 30 to 40,000 range, but even that's ridiculous. Yeah. I remember in high school when gas was just under $1. There you go. I remember that too. That wasn't that long ago. Ray says, come on, Jim, you remember why we called it blinker fluid? I really don't. I don't remember. I remember the term. Of course, we had muffler bearings too, but blinker fluid, muffler bearings, and there was a couple other things, but it was always just like a joke. But seriously, the car companies are failing. You know, especially now that they're basically 90% spyware. Nobody wants to drive a vehicle that spies on them. And then if it determines you're not fit to drive, it shuts off. Fuck that. California's always an exception, Jim. I don't even count anymore. To me, Cali always skews the figures. That's true. So, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. I know it's just not good, though. So, yeah, I try and confine myself to my house to some degree, you know. And my wife goes, I don't want to go out anymore. I said, why? I just deal with assholes. The fucking roads are a disaster, you know. I took her to, like I said, I took her to the eye doctor the other day, and I don't know how many people pulled out in front of me. I don't know how many times I was brake checked. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? You know. There's some Cadillac Escalade that's $160,000. Who the fuck buys one? That's what I want to know. Not even, I mean, it's an ugly car anyway. You know, the Escalade. I mean, it's got a few cool features in it, but so what? Bye, Jim. Come back later if you're still alive. Okay, James. Have a good one, man. Except for the mayor of Baltimore, yeah. For some reason, them guys always seem to have all these expensive cars that, you know, they probably don't actually pay for. We pay for it for them. But like I said, I just soon stay home, you know. I mail order everything I can, you know, because I really just don't like going out. I mean, there's some things I have to buy local. And I do, reluctantly, but If I never had to leave the house, I'd actually be pretty happy, man. What can I say? On some of the older cars, the fuel tank filler was behind the blinker. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the 55 and 57 Chevrolets had it behind the tail light. Fill the tank, aka blinker fluid. There you go. Oh, that took a minute to. I'd forgotten. Tom says I curse more when I'm driving than if I stay home. Yeah, me too, actually. You know, and the worst part is, you can't really do anything because you don't know if, you know, the guy that just cut you off, if you flip him off or whatever, he might flip, you know, turn around and shoot at you or something, you know. It's fucking nuts. And I do carry a lot, but I don't really want to get in a shootout with anybody if I can help it, you know. Just in case, you know, because I may not win, I may lose, and well, that would suck. But it's just ridiculous. I don't know what the hell's wrong with these people. You know. I'm going down the road. I generally do between 10 and 20 miles an hour over the speed limit. Pretty much like everybody else, you know. I'm flying down the road, and there's a guy waiting to pull in, on the highway. So rather than wait the 2 fucking seconds to come in behind me because there's nothing behind me, he pulls out in front of me. And then just, you know, looking for the gas pedal. I got to stand on the brake, blow the horn. It's like, dude, what the fuck, you know? When I pull out in front of somebody, if I have to, like if there's a narrow opening, man, I'm on the fucking throttle. I got that fucker to the floor, and I'm spinning wheels, and I'm getting the hell out of the way, you know. I don't fuck around when I get on traffic, you know, because I don't want to get hit. Why other people can't do that is beyond me. How can you curse any more than you do that? Believe me, I can. The hard things to find are Prindle switches. They are next to the muffler bearings, but only at certain auto stores. Oh yeah, the Prindle switches. I remember those. Jim, yes, my middle finger gets a lot of exercise when I... Mine used to. Like I said, now it's getting kind of dangerous out there, and I really don't, you know, it's not worth the aggravation. But unfortunately, it's very true, and it's like, dude, you couldn't wait 2 fucking seconds for me to blow by you and then get on the road? There's nothing behind me. I mean, nothing for like a half a mile. But no, he just had to get out in front of me, and then I can, you know, like idle down the rest of the way of the road, and I've got to either switch lanes if I can, or get on the brakes and slow down, or I run into him. I'd like to run into him just for shits and giggles, but, you know, it'd be my fault, and that would suck, and I'd wind up paying more for insurance and shit, which I don't want to do. That's the half peace sign, Tom. Oh, yeah, it could be. Yeah, people cut me off. I blow the horn and they flip me off. It's like, dude, you cut me off. Why are you flipping me, you know? You fucking asshole. Unbelievable. Had some guy was coming home, and there's a winding road coming to my house, you know, the 17. It's a state road. Single lane. Well, 2 lanes. No passing zone the whole way through because, you know, there's lots of bends and turns. Fucker passes me. I'm already doing 10 over on the speed limit. He passes me, so I fucking tap the horn. It's like, dude, what the fuck? Flips me off, man, and then tries to brake check me. Like, really? Are you fucking stupid? Derek says 3 fingers read between the lines, the big one. There you go. How's that work? Read between the lines? Hey, fucking people, man. It just, you know. No wonder there's so much violence out there, because these people, it's like they demanded to be shot or something, you know. I don't know. It's fucked up though, man. So like I said, I'd just soon stay home, you know. Get on the computer, order what I want. Eventually it gets here. I'm good to go. Anyway, so I hope to get more done this coming week. I'd actually like to almost finish it this coming week. As far as I know, I don't have anything going on. I have no doctor's appointments. I don't think the wife has any. So if the weather's not too bad, because I've got to cut some of the stuff outside, so I got 2 sawhorses outside the shed and a 2x4 across it for stability, where I cut these fiber panels to the size I need with the skill saw. Can't do that shit in the rain. So, well, like I said, the only thing I got left to cut is the 2 ceiling sections, and that's it. So, and I've got 4 fiber boards left. If I take back 2 of them, I only need the 2 left over. And I actually have the piece here for the back wall upper. It's already cut, ready to go. So I get those done, and that's it for that. Saturday the tape comes. I'll tape off all the seams. And then I could probably put the carpet down next. I still got to get some screws in the floor. I didn't do that yet. I've been kind of dicking around, but I'm going to screw them down better because it's creaking a little bit. And then I'll put the carpet down. The sink hooked up? No, the drain's in, but I need a 90-degree PVC 1/2-inch elbow, slip by slip. I thought I had some here. Can't find any. So tomorrow I'm going to Home Depot. I'll pick one up, along with an outlet for that light fixture. And then so the sink will be hooked up tomorrow, and the outlet for the lights will be in, and once the ceiling panels are up, I could put the lights on the ceiling. I'm going to put 2 rows of 4-footers put together, so you'll have 16 foot of light, an 8-footer and an 8-footer. I bought 6 of them, but that's because it came in a 6-pack, so I'll probably use the other one somewhere else, like maybe in the house or something. Maybe in the garage, I don't know. But these are actually pretty cool. They're very bright. And they're very light. I mean, I think probably weighs 10 ounces. It's 4 foot long. So, and then they've got connectors on both ends. Like that's the male end. And it's got the female end on the other side, yep. So, and I've got connectors that actually put them together. So it's gonna, like I said, I've got 2 in there now, and they're just standing against the wall, and they light the whole place up. So 4 of them, man, it's gonna be like, you know, gonna be like the sun in there, you know. But that's cool because I like lots of light. And like I said, I didn't cut the hole in the wall for the paint booth yet because I don't know where it's going to go. So I got to find a table or a bench or something that's going to be a permanent mount for it, and then I'll drill a hole in the back, which I think it's 4-inch. Yeah, 4-inch hole for the duct to go through and outside, and I've got the cover outside. So that'll take care of the spray booth, and that actually acts as an exhaust fan too. So that'll take care of that. Like I said, I don't have anything to put it on yet. Because originally I had it on this bench. And in the corner I put a hole in the wall and ducted it outside, but don't have that hole anymore. Now I got a big opening for a doorway. So, but I want to set it up, like you said, probably toward the back wall. Yeah, because that's really the only place I can think to put it, or possibly even the sidewall. I don't know. The bench is 5 foot wide. I don't want to put it on the bench this time. I want the bench specifically for the printers and possibly the curing machine, the curing box. I was thinking about getting a second A1. Now I'm starting to rethink that. Do I really need a second one? I really don't, so I probably won't get one. Unless, if they keep screwing around with the laws and they want to try and regulate what you could print, I'll buy another one before they change the software in them. Because right now, like the one I have, the one that Tom Grassi has, JD has, those don't have software in there that can be easily regulated. So, but later on, if they do, I know California is working on a law that's going to force 3D printers to recognize somehow anything that looks like a gun component, so you won't be able to print gun components. The problem with that, of course, is what if you want to make a toy gun for your kid? Not a real one, but a toy. Maybe a water gun or something like that. It won't allow you to do it because that grip is going to look too much like a real gun. That's what I'm saying. What they're talking about is so stupid, and they need to just quit fucking around with this shit, With the O-ring windshield wipers, right? O-ring windshield wipers. I don't know what that is. So, like I said, I don't really have any plans. I'd like to get an AMS unit down the road. I should have bought one when I bought this machine because it would have only cost me $100 extra. If I want to buy it separately, I'm looking at $200 extra. But I'd still like to have one down the road, so I may buy one. And you can either mount it beside the A1, or they have a deal where you can put it on top of the A1. I don't know which way I'd rather go with it, but if I decide to get one, I'll figure that out then. So I've got the A1 and then the 2 resin printers. The resin printers have a very small footprint. So I'm thinking I could probably put the curing box next to the resin printers. It's their anti-brake squeal WD-42. What the hell is WD-42? They make WD-40, but I've never seen 42. And yeah, you can put it on your brakes, believe it or not. Because really, all WD is water dispersant. That's what the WD stands for. So it basically disperses water or moisture. And they said there are some people that actually sprayed their backs with it. If you have like arthritis in your back, supposedly it's supposed to fix that. There's nothing in WD-40 that will hurt you, as long as you don't ingest it. But it's a water dispersant, and a lot of arthritis and stuff is caused by humidity or moisture in your bones, and apparently the WD disperses it somehow. I don't know, weird shit. So I know we used to spray fan belts with WD-40 too. It would stop them from squealing. The old V-belts, the guy would come in and say, "It's a brand new belt and it squeals. I've got it as tight as I can get it." You grab a can of WD-40, spray it down, fire it up, stop squealing. Just joking, Jim. There is no WD-40. I didn't think there was. At least, not yet anyway. Well, the next one would be WD-41. You know, because I guess it took 40 tries to get it right. And that's how they came up with water dispersant, the number 40. Unfortunately, Washington State and Oregon will follow Cali on proposed 3D print law. Oregon outlawed ghost guns in last legislation. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. And you know, the thing is, that's illegal. Because the Constitution, the Second Amendment, I guess there's some fine print in there somewhere. Or some other aspect that since day one of this country, you are able to manufacture your own firearms. You generally couldn't sell them or build them for anybody else, but you can make them for yourself. And up until this ghost gun bullshit, it was legal to make your own weapons without a serial number. You know. And you really, I think, was it World War II, but prior to World War II, or right afterwards, they didn't serialize guns anyway. I don't think they started serializing guns until the 50s, maybe? Maybe the 60s, I don't remember, but now those guns are still legal. I think in some states you have to serialize them. You know, but it's fucking ridiculous. And the thing is, if you print a gun and don't use it in a crime, how are they gonna know? You know, I said I wouldn't 3D print a gun anyway because I think it's stupid. Now you can print the furniture for a gun, like for rifles. You could print that out of plastic because they're using plastic now. You know, some use wood, some use plastic. My AK-47 has ABS furniture on it. It's plastic, you know. I bought it that way. But my SKS, the first one I had, I put ABS furniture on that one and took the wood off because the wood looked like shit, you know. That's about the only thing I would actually 3D print. Anybody dumb enough to 3D print a barrel and put a fucking bullet in it, you're just asking for problems, you know. Even 3D printing a frame and putting a steel slide on it, you still might have some issues with it. And if you put a plastic slide on it, you're definitely going to have issues. So the reality is, this ghost gun is all bullshit anyway. You know. You're not going to make a 44 caliber ghost gun. Or a 40 caliber, or even a 45. Because the fucking thing's going to blow up in your face. You know. It's just fucking stupid. And you know, they have those fucking CNC machines or small standalones that you can take a block of aluminum and actually print like locks and Colt 1911s and shit like that, but you know, the fucking machine's $500. But it's still legal to do it in most cases. Federal serial numbers being required wasn't until 68, not that, yeah, okay. I knew it wasn't that long ago. Because that was when they came up with the gun control, was it the Firearm Act or some shit like that, or no? Because that was in 68 that's probably when they started serializing. And did it make a difference? Did it stop any murders? No. You know. That's what I'm saying. It's a stupid idea. You know, and even the government, now they're not allowed to keep registries of what you own. They say some are doing it anyway, but, you know, so what? You come and try and take my gun, well, you know, one of us is probably not going to live to see the next day. Hopefully it'll be you and not me. Yes, but many older guns do have serial numbers even though they weren't required. That's probably true, but they said it doesn't make a difference. Russ says permit to purchase law in Oregon is on hold until January 2028. NRA sued and Oregon Supreme Court is reviewing it. Anti-gun groups say they will continue fighting until law is passed. Well, the Supreme Court just made a ruling. It's Henderson versus the U.S. or something. That pretty much puts a stop to all this bullshit. You know. From what I've read anyway. Some are saying it might not be real. I don't know. Your Second Amendment is a right. It's a right that can't be fucked with. You know. A right is not something the government grants you. It's something you're born with. It's a birthright. And the government can't touch it. Even though they try. Listen, there's so many guns in this country. Even if the government did know who had what, whatever, getting them would be a whole different story, you know. And I think if they actually tried going door to door, there'd be a lot of dead feds. Colt put numbers on their guns in the 1900s, but it wasn't required. Huh, didn't know that. Well, and that could be for their own inventory or whatever. Who the hell knows? But like I said, well, I have a generic 1911, but you know, a copy or whatever you want to call it. That's several actually, and they all have serial numbers on them. But big deal, you know. But I'm not going to use it to commit a crime with, so it doesn't matter really to me, and it shouldn't matter to anybody else. But you know, it's all on fear. You know, the government's afraid, and they probably figured if we ever figure out what they're really doing to us, we'd probably kill them. They're probably right. So they're scared to death. So they're trying to eliminate their own deaths. But the thing is, there's a lot of ways to kill somebody, and you don't necessarily need a gun to do it. You know. I mean, if somebody really had it in their mind to take out the lawmakers, you know, a couple well-placed homemade bombs in the Capitol would take care of that problem in a split second. No guns needed. Yeah. Now, obviously, somebody hasn't figured out how to do that yet, or maybe the idea just hasn't come up. Maybe I just did a bad thing and gave somebody the idea, but you know. Hey, if you're not fucking over the people, you should have nothing to worry about, right? So instead of worrying about who's got what gun and whatever, how about lowering the price of gas? You know. Hammers kill. That's true. Hammers do kill more people than guns. Blunt force trauma is the number one murder thing. So hammers, another thing. Statues, anything that got some weight to it, you can kill somebody with. Ray says, I had an old H&R brake top. Wasn't shootable. What was cool was stolen years ago. The serial number was only 3 digits. Yeah, it must have been really old. You know, that's another thing too. Well, I've had 2 guns stolen from me. Both were 45s out of Smith & Wesson. Semi-auto that was stolen from me. It was the first gun I ever bought. And, well, the first 45 I bought. And the other one was a 1911 clone. That was also stolen off me. We already have a red flag law here. The law has already been highly abused. No due process. I know. Well, supposedly, like I said, the Supreme Court, from what I understand, struck down all red flag laws. But they said that a lot of the states are simply not going to comply with the new laws. So, and you said Jersey, California, Hawaii, and Colorado, and New York are the worst ones for fucking around with your Second Amendment rights. And they said they'll always find a way to skirt around the new laws. Anything could be used. Well, that's what I'm saying. You can kill somebody with a pencil. Stab them in the eye, or stab them up the nose, or stab them in the ear. As soon as you hit the brain, they're done. Not much to it. It's a deadly weapon, but fortunately we don't regulate the sale of pencils. Unless, of course, people start using them to kill people with, then they probably will regulate them. But so I'm saying, instead of going after the person using the tool, they go after the tool. Some guy pointed out the other day, it was in a meme actually, said, isn't it funny how if a cop kills someone, it's the cop's fault? But if a criminal kills someone, it's the gun's fault. Funny how that works, isn't it? UEP, they started the red flag thing in California. Well, it's because California's fucked up. Look at what's going on in New York right now. They're not arresting anybody. The crimes are being committed literally every day, all day. Everything from shoplifting to rape to probably murder. And they're just not even doing anything about it. Well, people were having a hard time. Yeah, that's a good reason to let them get away with murder, huh? And they can't figure out why things are going wrong. And then, they say Walgreens, I think, or was it in one of the states? It might have been New York. I don't remember. No, maybe it was St. Louis. I don't remember. But Walgreens is pulling out. They've already removed 5 stores from the town. And they're going to remove the 6th one here by June 1st. And so what are the blacks doing? They're protesting it. You can't take Walgreens. How am I supposed to get my medications? Well, you should have thought about that before your brothers were in there stealing them blind. And then the state, like I said, or the county, city, whatever, they're not arresting them. There should be a uniform law everywhere. If you get caught shoplifting, you get a bullet in the back of your head. No questions asked. You'll see how fast shoplifting comes to a screeching halt. Because you know what? Them fucking Nike shoes ain't worth dying for. Or a loaf of bread or a can of coffee. No, nothing's worth dying for. But until we bring about the death penalty for all these supposed minor crimes, they're going to keep happening. And nobody can seem to figure that out for some reason. I don't know. It's bullshit. But, what are you going to do? Another soda here. Oh, man. I got to get a new chair. This chair is getting really uncomfortable. It doesn't roll worth a shit. And it's getting really uncomfortable to sit in. I can't afford to buy a nice one right now. I might have to just buy another cheap one and deal with it for the next 6 months to a year. We'll see. I should probably start playing the lottery. The last jackpot they had, there was 2 winners for the Mega Ball. And it was something like 100 millionaires that got like 5 out of 6 or 6 out of 6 without the Powerball. They became instant millionaires. Like, what the fuck, man? I should start playing that crap. I gotta figure out a way to generate more money or get some income going here, because man, it's getting tougher and tougher. My tenant, I don't know what the hell's going on with that. I got some ideas, but she's an older woman. She's disabled, a lot like me to some degree. I think she's a year younger or a year older than me. I don't remember which. I moved her in after my mother-in-law moved out again. So I charge her $600 a month. Everything's included: internet, water, trash pickup. All she's got to do is pay me $600 a month. She doesn't drive, so she has no car payment, no insurance, no gasoline. She has a phone, so she's paying her phone bill, whatever that is. And I think she bought a piece of furniture from one of those rental places. She's getting $1,400 plus a month for disability. And she writes me a check and it bounces not once, but twice. The first time she said, well, it was a new checking account and the bank detected the check as fraudulent, which makes no sense. So I said, all right, well, maybe. So she wrote me out a new check. I deposit it, it goes through, but then it doesn't. So now I've already paid a bunch of shit. I've used that money. And of course the bank says, oh, we're sorry, we had to, cancel that check because it's no good, non-sufficient funds. I says, well, she says, you're in the hole because, we already paid everybody that, you debited money to or wrote a check to. All right, well, thank God that happened because, now I've been with my bank for like 44 years. And they treat me really good. The bank's down in Naples, and they don't have a branch. There's only 2 branches in the whole state. One in Naples, one in Gainesville. Neither one's close to me. So when I do deposits, I just do, the phone deposit, using my smartphone. And I usually have no problem. Well, of course, when the second one bounced, I said, oh, I was getting a little irate. And I'm like, look, this is twice now you've given me a bad check. Well, the money's in the bank. I said, well, my bank says your bank has no money in it. NSF, non-sufficient funds. Well, that can't be. I said, well, the bank ain't going to lie about it. So she got her daughter, and I said, look, Tina, I need this money tonight. The whole $600, not part of it. No bullshit. Tonight. She said, well, she works till 8. I said, that's fine. I stay up late. As soon as she gets here with the money, you text me. I'll come over and get the money. So her daughter got it, and I don't know what's going on, but the daughter came in and went so fast. Because as soon as she texted me, I went over there, and her daughter was down already. So I got the $600 cash. Had to go to my wife's bank, deposit it, get a cashier's check from her, and deposit it in my bank through the phone. Because this all happened like on Friday, and I couldn't get the money until Monday anyway. But it went through and everything was good. But what I think happened, and I could be wrong, but the daughter has control over mom's money. And I think her daughter took out the money, used it, and didn't have enough to cover her mother's rent. So the check was no good. I didn't say that, but, how else would you explain that the money's not there? And then my tenant tells me, she goes, I run out of money every month. And I'm thinking, but you get $1,400 a month, you pay $600 in rent. Let's say you pay $100 for your phone. You probably don't. You get food stamps. You have no food bill. You probably pay maybe $40, $50 a month for your rental piece of furniture. That should still leave you with at least $600 a month left. You should have all kinds of money in the bank. And yet her bank is empty before the end of the month. So the only thing I can figure is either she's giving some of that money to her daughter, or her daughter's taking it and not letting mom know where the money's going. And it kind of pisses me off because, look, I don't care what you do, as long as my fucking rent is there on the 3rd every month. So I had to tell my tenants, look, I said, I'm trying not to be an asshole here, but, the deal was normally I get my rent on the 1st of the month. You don't get paid till the 3rd, so 3rd is fine, 4th is not. And this is the 2nd month I've had problems getting the rent from you. It will not happen again. If it happens next month, I'm going to have to evict you. Oh, I don't want to get evicted. I said, well, then fine, you get this straightened out. She said, well, I'm going to get another bank because she was dealing with Wells Fargo. But I'm telling you, the bank would not bounce a check if the money was in there. So I know damn good and well the money wasn't there. Where the daughter got the money from, I have no idea. maybe her supposedly rich boyfriend, and plus she works. So I don't know what's going on here, but it's a little sketchy. This is back when I lived in California. The last gun I bought went through the background check, and the store didn't like me and made me do it again. It was cleared both times. They finally gave it to me 3 months later. Yeah, that's not right either. Well, it says the Supreme Court said that they no longer can, that you have to have a background check like within an hour, and no more wait periods, none of this shit. They claim that they did away with all this shit, and everybody has to be a shall issue now. So I don't know. And I read a thing on MSN the other day that the USPS, the Postal Service, is talking about legally selling guns again, transporting guns. They used to be able to before all this bullshit went through. I think they need to go back to it, Said back in the 60s, you could order a rifle from Sears, the Sears catalog, and it came in the mail to your house a few days later. No background checks, no bullshit. You paid for the gun, it was yours. We need to go back for that. Ray says, I do shop with Big Five anymore. I don't shop with... Alright. I don't blame you. Tom says, Jim, when I get a check from someone, I call the bank. The check is drawn on to see if it's funded. I didn't think that would be a problem because, like I said, because she was paying me cash before. And last month, her daughter was supposed to bring her the $600 cash and only brought $300. I said, well, you're $300 short. Oh, well, I couldn't get any more out of the ATM. And I'm thinking that's bullshit because you can get, I think, at least $500 out of the ATM. And sometimes you can even tell out the whole $600, and you can do it multiple times if something happens. So I don't know what the hell is going on. So I says, well, when are you going to have the other $300? Oh, in a couple of days. Well, it took her a couple of days till I finally got it, and I said, this can't happen again. The rent is $600. You need to pony up $600 on the 3rd of every month. Says, I can't play this game where you're going to nickel and dime me over the course of days or weeks. It's not going to happen. They said, why don't you just get a checking account? Well, because she had a bank account, but she didn't get any checks. So once you go to the bank, get checks, and you can just write me out a check. I can deposit it right into my bank over the phone. Solves a whole bunch of shit, Because before I had to give the money to my wife, she'd deposit in her account, write me a check for my half, because I give her $300 allowance. She'd write me a check for $300, I'd deposit that in my bank. It's a real pain in the ass, Now, I am going to open up an account with her bank probably the next couple of weeks because it will be a second account for me. I'm not going to do away with my first one, but I could take the cash money that my tenant's going to pay me every month from here on in and just deposit it right in that bank and have access to it. $100 fee for late and $100 fee for bounce check. Put it in the lease if you have one. No one likes to pay an extra $100. Yeah. Well, see, I didn't do a lease with her, but as I usually do, but she said she didn't need one. I figured, well, because really the lease is more for the tenant's protection than his landlord's. But I did have, I had a $50 late fee and bounce check fee in previous leases. But I never had any problems getting my rent on time or even early, So I've always had good tenants, and she's a good tenant, but I think she's getting played by her daughter, and she doesn't know it. And unfortunately, I can't get in the middle of that. I may make things worse than they are, and certainly for myself as well as for my my tenant. But I think it's bullshit, because there's something going on there, How you could start out with $1,400, and I think you said $1,445 a month she gets, and at the most she's laying out maybe $800. So that still leaves $600 in the bank. Where is it going? So I have a feeling that she's either giving it to her daughter, or her daughter's just taking it. And I've always said this, you never let your kids have access to your money. I mean, unless you really... My dad gave me power of attorney over everything with him because he had the Alzheimer's a little bit. But he knew I'd take care of shit, you know. I didn't take a dime of that money for myself. And he had like almost $100,000 in the bank. Well, several banks, actually. But I had receipts for every dollar I spent to prove that it was for his, you know, welfare and you know, travel expenses, all that shit. So, you know, I didn't fuck around. I did what I was supposed to do with the money, and I had proof of it. And I still have all the receipts and shit in case I ever get it audited someday, even though he's, you know, long gone. But, you know, I mean, I wouldn't trust my kids with my money. And they're good kids, but, you know, money does something to some people sometimes, and you just gotta use your brain, you know. And my wife's friend, she was living, I rented her a room back in Naples. And she always had her rent on time, but she used to let her son borrow her car. He would destroy them. She had like 6 cars in the time she stayed with us. He destroyed every one of them. He was always begging for money. She had no money left over for anything. She made sure the rent was, because I told you, you stiff me on the rent, you're out on the road. You know, I don't fuck around. And I think she was only paying like $300 a month anyway for a room, you know. So, but that was the problem. She, you know, she let her son run over her all the time. It's, why do you keep letting him use your car? Well, he needs a car. Let him go out and buy one. He's a grown man. He was like in his 40s. You know, you don't need to loan him your fucking car, especially if he decides. If I loan my kid my car and he fucked it up, that would be the last time I loaned him anything. You know, you owe me a car, dude. You know, I used to borrow my dad's vehicles all the time. I didn't abuse them. You know, I took good care of him. I treated him better than my own because, you know, I'd tear up my own shit, but I wouldn't tear up his because, you know, that's bullshit. You don't do that. So, you know, I don't understand these people. So it's like, well, he'd be lost without me. I said, well, you know, you're in your late 60s. This was a few years ago. You know you're going to die one day. You know, it's inevitable. We all die. What's he going to do after you're gone? Oh, I don't really know. I said, well, shouldn't you be teaching him something now before you get to that point? You know, a little tough love goes a long way, man. Yeah. My kids turned 18. It's like, you know, get out, you know. Even my stepdaughter, you know. My wife was mad at me because, you know, I tell you, so when she turns 18, she's got to go. Why you come back? It's because she needs to get out in the world and make her own way. Hell, I did it at 15. If I can do it at 15, she can do it at 18, you know. This is bullshit, man. These kids today, they don't want to do anything on their own. They don't care, you know, or they're not being forced to do it. So help them on a little bit. So we'll see what happens next month. Like I said, the rent's due on the 3rd. If it ain't there, we're going to have a problem. Because like I said, you know, I thought I had the money, it was in the bank showed it was good. So I went and paid some things with it, you know, you said I'm financing the shed and whatever with all that. And then a few days later, it's showing check return. And they deducted $600 out of my account, which, you know, put me in the fucking hole. Like, well, shit. So then, you know, I tried to use my debit card. This is before I knew all this shit was going on. And my debit card got rejected. I called the bank. I said, you know, what's going on with my card? She goes, well, you had a check that was returned. I said, again? She goes, yeah, it's a second check, second time. She says, it's no good. We had you know, deduct the money. She says, a couple of things got through on your account. I said, well, I'll get the money to put in there. It'll take a couple of days, but I'll get it in there, you know. He says, you know me, I've been a loyal customer for over 40 years, so they didn't charge me nothing for any of that shit, thank God. But I was kind of sweating. It's like, you know, so I went over and I said, look, you know, I got to have that fucking money, you know. I'm in the hole right now. I've never been in a hole my entire fucking life. You know. With 40 some years with this bank, I've never once overdrawn my account. Till now. And it's your fault. Yeah. So she's, she got the money to me, but it's just bullshit, and it makes me look bad. And of course, I was afraid that I still had a couple things were getting ready to hit. Starlink was one of them. They want their money. You got X amount of days to pay them. Well, thank God everything hit right after the new $600 went in, and it was paid for. But I still had 2 credit card payments to make. I had PayPal account to pay for. Yeah, a couple of small things. I mean, I was only in the hole for like $100, but still, I'm still in the negative. And I said, this is bullshit. I don't like this, Makes me look bad. So, if I knew that money wasn't going to be any good, I wouldn't have spent it. But I wrongly assumed it was good because, the bank cleared it, and then they didn't. Which is also kind of fucked up, but I don't know. They said now is not the time to have any financial disasters take place. Money's tight. I generally have, good control over everything that's going on. I don't spend more than I have as a rule. So I don't need shit like this happening, man. It ain't right. So, I don't know. The good news is, I might have a few nickel and dime items I might have to buy for this, but other than I want to get another bench at some point, which I saw one of you guys was showing me that if you were a member of Harbor Freight, an inside member, they had that bench on sale. They'll have it on sale for non-members too. When they do, I'll go pick one up. But so far they haven't. Saw the Dems are trying to cancel the 250th anniversary of U.S. Really? Hey Scott, how you doing? Good to see you here, man. Where did you read that at? I'm not surprised, mind you. I don't know why Trump doesn't designate the Democrats as a terrorist organization, because as far as I'm concerned, they are, and they should be outlawed and run out of America. Especially these fuckers that, you see that shit where Mark Hamill, the guy that played Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, the original movies, he fucking made an AI picture of Trump dead in a grave and said that that's where he needs to go and he'd like to see him there. Something to that effect. That fucker needs to do a little bit of prison time. What the fuck is wrong with him? I used to like him, man. I thought he was cool. Till he became, a TDS member. Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, I don't know what the hell's wrong with these people. Fucking Democrats, man. They ain't right in the head. And we need to do something about it before, they get crazy and do something we'll regret. There's a lot of people that don't want America to exist. People that live here in this country. And we need to find them and eject them. Toss them out. You don't like America? Why are you here? Well, we don't want you here, so we're going to make you leave. Well, we kind of did, see what they're doing with the passports now? If you have any major debts, you can't get a passport. So basically they're saying if you owe money, you can't leave the country. Which I think is bullshit. It ain't right, but that's what they're fucking doing. Ray says if the tenant bounced a check twice, they are gone. A couple of days late is one thing. If they bounce a check, charge them late fees and all fees you incur from the bounced check. And so, well, I didn't incur any fees. Now she might, because sometimes your own bank will get you if you bounce a check. I don't know. I don't really care. Like I said, she's a good woman, and I believe she honestly believes that she thought the money was in the bank. But I think her daughter's been stealing some of her money and miscalculated or something because the money wasn't there. Yeah. And my tenant, I don't think she believed me, and I said, look, I'm not lying to you. My bank says NSF, non-sufficient funds. That means your bank did not have enough money to cover that check. Doesn't mean there was no money in there, but there certainly wasn't 600. There might have only been 555 in there. I don't know. You need to call your bank and find out what your balance is. And she I don't know, she's hesitant. I think maybe she knows too, but is afraid to have to confront her daughter on it. Because, some parents are like that. Me, if my kid did that to me, I'd probably be in jail the next day for beating the hell out of him. That's just the way I am. You don't steal from your family, But that happens more often than not. So, if it were anybody else, that I probably would have thrown them out after the first check bounced. And I wouldn't have trusted his check and check. But like I said, I'm looking at it, and I know what she's on disability, so she's getting at least what she claims. I get $1,617 in disability every month, but I've been on it for a while. She gets $1,445. So if you're only paying $600 for rent, let's say $100 for your phone, which I doubt she's paying that much, because my phone's only $22 a month for unlimited everything practically, and a piece of furniture, she's doing a rent-to-own thing, at best $50 a month. Well, that's $750 a month. She gets food stamps, so she doesn't pay for food. She has no other expenses that I'm aware of. So where's all the money going? But yet she says, I run out of money every month. I'm thinking, how? Yeah. There's something wrong with it, I don't want to punish her for something her daughter's doing. But then on the other hand, I can't. I said I did put my foot in and said this cannot happen again. If it happens again, you will be evicted. And the thing is, she was living with her daughter in the daughter's house that was willed to her or something by her dad when he passed. But oh, absolutely, Ray, no doubt about that. Anyway, her husband passed, the daughter's husband. So the family took control of the house and booted them out. They wanted to sell it, which is their right. So daughter and mom had to move out. Well, daughter hooks up with supposedly a rich guy, but he's saying no, she can't move in with us. Mom can't, So mom's now, basically looking at living in the street possibly. And like I said, I put the word out that I had this apartment for rent. And, she couldn't get in there quick enough, And she loves it here. I mean, she's very happy and all. But there's something going on. I'm sure of it. So maybe mom's always been or daughter's always been using mom's money. Either mom didn't know or didn't care. And now that daughter's off on her own, like I said, the supposedly rich boyfriend, and I'm trying to think. Now this woman's daughter's big. She's a big back woman. I wouldn't fuck her with any of your guys' dick, all right? That's what I'm saying. She might be a nice woman and all, but too big for my liking. So I'm thinking, all right, so you got a rich guy that's a little older than her, and she's living with him, and I'm thinking, well, either she gives one hell of a blowjob, or she's lying about his wealth. Yeah. John says, I'm in and out posting some layout videos of the varied scales. Currently at Union State. Oh, cool, man. So, what is that? There's, every time somebody says they're with somebody rich, you got to take that with a grain of salt. Especially when you're thinking, well, why would a rich guy want you? You know. I could see if she was hot, She's not. I just don't see it. I'm sorry, man. It's the way it goes. What do I know, right? I don't like to have been a fly on the wall, though, when, because my tenant called her daughter. She said, well, I'll get hold of, I'll get hold of my daughter and, find out what the hell's going on. I'm thinking, yeah, all right. Well, I'd love to hear that conversation. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, see, I don't have any other videos to show you. Spike Man turned in a video today. It was kind of a rail fanning video. I was going to post it, but I'm always leery about posting a lot of this stuff because I don't know if it'll count as a copyright strike or not. So, I tend not to post a lot of stuff. It's kind of a cool video, though. I was, long ass train. Nothing fancy, but it was kind of cool. There's really nothing else going on, and nothing new on my layout, obviously. Then once I get this damn building done, and I get to work in here, get trains running, and start getting some stuff accomplished. It seems like it's been forever, doesn't it? And I guess for a while, what's been like 3 months now? I guess since I started this, I don't know. Time flies when you're having fun. I don't pay attention. But it's just, it's very, very closed in over here right now. My wife don't like even coming over here because she says I get claustrophobic in your shed. I'm going, yeah, once I get it all cleaned up and organized, you'll be back to normal again. She says, well, I hope so. Because right now it's a little too close quarters for her, and I think she suffers from a little claustrophobia. Thank God I don't, or it'd be a problem. Like I said, I can't hardly move around in here, but it is what it is. Anyway, it's almost 8 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. I can't think of anything else I really want to talk about or cover that we haven't already, so I'll see you guys next week, and hopefully I'll have hopefully a completed building by then. Who knows? Or something close to it anyway. I think I will. I think I'll have the ceilings done, the lights up, the bench in there, carpet down. Sink will obviously be running. I'll have the sink working tomorrow. So yeah, I think the majority of it will be done. I think the only thing that's probably going to take a while is getting this doorway finished out. And that's not that big of a deal. I could work on that little by little. So we'll see. I will be in and out of chats as well. Working on Mom's cabin. No to maybe a signal up there. Oh yeah. Alright, well. Alright, that's good to hear. So have fun. All you guys, I want to thank you for popping in as usual and sharing your time with me. I'm sure your time is very valuable. Mine used to be. I don't know about it anymore. But anyway, have a good weekend. Be safe. Have fun. And remember to play with your trains for those of you who have working trains. And for those of you who don't, get them working, damn it. And, hell, we'll see you next week, man. Don't forget to flip off the signal guy. It's become a staple here now, flipping off the signal man. And we'll see you next week. Here's the outro.